Welcome in to Disabled right here on the Independently Blind Network. So much to talk about today. My trip to Disneyland. We're going to be talking about all the magic. We're going to be talking about Genie Plus, the DASS Pass, World of Color. So much to get into, so much to talk about. What an experience. Without further ado, let's jump right into this. Welcome in everybody to Disabled, the show where we talk about everything Disney. It could be shows, it could be the park, speculations about what they're going to do to the park. But in today's episode, we're just doing a trip recap. I just got back from a 4-day trip. I was able to get one vlog put together for you. And I'm here to explain the rest of the trip because it was one of a kind. And some beautiful, magical moments that I want to talk about. So let's jump right into it, shall we? Hey, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, so you can be updated every time I drop another video. And you never know. You never know. Right here, we're all about educating, advocating, motivating, and inspiring others to live their best life, regardless of what your needs are, what kind of loss you're experiencing. Me, in general, I'm experiencing sight loss, but maybe your loss is something else. You have a home here. All right. Thank you for everybody who's watched the me surprising my brother video and, the vlog that came out before this episode of Disabled. We had an amazing time. A lot of you that have been following this channel for a while know that I've had plans since 2020 to attend Star Wars Celebration. In between that, I was able to go to the parks back in July, and this was my second trip since, the big world change. And it was just as magical, if not more, than the first. Why? Because I had my whole family with me. I was able to take my wife, who was a resident of that area for quite some time. I don't know exactly how long. I want to say close to 10 years probably, maybe less. And she got to go back and just experience the parks once again. Some of my children for the first time was experiencing Disneyland, so that was fun. And then my brother's daughter, youngest daughter, my youngest niece, was experiencing it for the first time. And it was the first time my brother and I were together there in 5 years. The last time that we were there together was the last time we saw each other, which was back in November of 2017. So not quite at that exact 5-year mark, but just a few months removed from that. So for me, it was everything to be there with my family. Sharing the experience with my brother. They have never met, so they got to meet for the first time. And a lot of firsts. There was just a ton of firsts on this trip. Everybody was experiencing certain rides for the first time, foods for the first time, shows for the first time. And we spent 3 days in Disneyland and 1 day in Disney California Adventure. And, I wish we all talked about it. We wish that we would have been able to spend another day at DCA, but maybe that's something that we do the next time. And when it comes to Disney providing the magic, it's alive and well. It's alive and well. I know there's a ton of unhappy Disney fans right now, primarily pass holders, and we'll get into that eventually. I'm not sure I'll cover it in this episode of Disabled, but it's definitely something I want to address shortly. This particular episode, I really, really just want to focus on the trip and some of our experiences. But so those who saw the surprise video, I was able to surprise my brother. He knew I was coming for Celebration. He knew I'd be there Wednesday, but he had no idea that I wanted to share my family with him and share the experience at Disneyland again, something that we hadn't had since November of 2017. It's something it was a yearly trip him and I took. So it really meant a lot. Walking up Main Street, seeing everybody's expression, riding Rise, seeing their expression for the first time was really awesome. And Disneyland never lets me down. Disneyland Park never lets me down. It's always the cast members are always so generous, so nice, thoughtful. They think for you most of the time. And my brother really wanted to experience the Genie Plus and the lightning lanes and all that. Uh, I don't know if I would use it. It has a purpose. It has a place in the park. I know there's a lot of people that are against it, but it definitely does have a purpose and a place in the park if used correctly. In our particular situation, where there were so many of us trying to do so many things and conquer the park in many different ways, we had a wide age group here. The youngest was 4, the oldest was 14, and there's a lot of ground to cover, right? And I found it odd because we went. Our first day was Saturday. Our last day was Tuesday. Monday and Tuesday much busier than Saturday and Sunday. I felt the crowd more on Monday and Tuesday than I did on Saturday and Sunday. Why is that? Couldn't tell you. But it still was not what I remembered as far as crowd congestion. I know that Disney's not running at full capacity, so that made me question Genie Plus and Lightning Lane there for a little bit. But if you're going to the park and you don't go on a regular basis, and you have young ones with you, and you guys are trying to get as much done each day that you're there as possible to create this experience and have a certain vibe as far as like what you're going to do, rides, then I can see the value in it. But again, picture this. I'm a family of 6 at the park, $20 a piece. It's $120 a day extra for my family to have the Genie Plus experience. I don't see the overall value on a regular basis with that. You know, at some point, I would love to teach the kids the value of what the park brings outside of the rides and how to experience the park in a different kind of way. And, you know, maybe we'll have that opportunity someday, but in this particular case, we did it. And I'm not 100% sold on it myself. There's other ways to navigate the park. There's other ways to do the park. But I do see the value in the sense of smaller unit. Maybe you're a family of 2 or 3, $60. I mean, everything else is expensive too, right? Food and merchandise, and you select to pay that for the experience, to have a different kind of experience and not have to wait in some of the longer lines, then go ahead. But I don't know. I'm still on the fence. We'll see my full thoughts as we investigate the park more. But right now, I mean, if you are more than a family of 3, I would definitely second guess it unless this is a once in a lifetime event for you. Just my thoughts. The other thing that we got to experience the night we were in DCA, which was Sunday night, we ended up going to Storytellers for dinner, and we got the World of Color package. It became, again, real pricey for a family of 6, but I'm glad we did it because nobody really had seen but me World of Color in my group, my family group. So to make sure that we secured a good spot for them to enjoy the World of Color, it was essential. In these days, the way that Disney's doing it with standbys and virtual queues and trying to get certain spots, if you really want to see World of Color or Fantasmic's back now, I wasn't in the park when it was back, but it's all about getting, and it's an upsell, but getting a food package, a World of Color package at one of the restaurants that offer it, or a Fantasmic experience at, Hungry Bear right now has it over there. Blue Bayou will be returning. You can get it there. Those are the way to go to watch the shows. And again, I wouldn't suggest watching it every night. I love both shows. They're both amazing. But I would do it at least one time during my trip. And getting the food packages, to me, it's just the way to go. It makes the most sense. But the World of Color brought back a ton of memories. I know that's one of the things that have been lacking at the parks since they reopened is just the nighttime spectaculars, the nighttime shows. Currently, as we got back, they're open up fireworks every night. They got Fantasmic every night, twice a night, fireworks twice a night. They have World of Color twice a night. You just can't beat the experience. You just really cannot beat the experience, and it really brings Disneyland as a whole. Does that mean that they're going to open things up and we'll be back to full capacity and more opportunity? Signs are not showing that at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on that, and I'm going to discuss it. We'll probably do this on a weekly basis to start off with, and just kind of, because I have a lot that I want to talk about the parks, the way they're functioning, and improvements that need to be made, and so on and so forth. But they really nailed it down. Now, I do want to cover lightly the DASS pass. It's the 88 pass for Disneyland, and I used it a day, and I still say, be mindful when you go and get this pass, okay? You don't have to. The idea here for the DASS pass is for those who have a disability that hinders them from experiencing the park on a level like anxiety, autism, blindness. These things, wheelchair, mobility issues. This is a fantastic system, and I'm going to cover it in video. I'll be going back to the park at some point and kind of really trying to paint the bigger visual picture for this. No pun intended here on Independently Blind, but paint a bigger visual picture on not only how this works, but who it's really for. And Disney does a great job of the interview process to make sure that not only you getting the best experience for you and your family, but that you're not taking advantage of the system either. And for the record, this is not a fast pass. This is not a skip the lane feature. I think that's the biggest misconception of the DASS pass. In fact, depending on the day that you're there and how busy the park is, it's not going to help you in as far as speeding up the process for the park. And this is how it works. Just a general run through of how the DASS pass works. It is a pass that now they do it virtually from the Genie Plus app. There'll be a DASS link button in there. And then you can select the ride that you want to go on. When you select the ride, it reads the wait time of that ride currently. It will adjust your pass accordingly. So if you want to ride Peter Pan, and Peter Pan is at 1 hour and 10-minute wait, your pass will not become active to use the DASS pass to enter through the exit for 1 hour and 10 minutes. Okay, and once that hour and 10 minutes comes, so let's say you booked it and you're not allowed to be on it till noon. You got to wait till noon. You have an opportunity from noon to 1 to get on it. So it's not, maybe you booked it at 11 o'clock and it's a 60-minute wait, so you can't get on the ride till noon, and then you have from noon to 1 to ride it. Very basic, very simple. So a lot of people think and feel like it is a fast pass. It's not. Because fast pass, if you were to book it, number one, Peter Pan don't have a fast pass, but if you book the ride and the ride's available now, if you booked it at 11, you might get an 11:10, from 11:10 to 12:10. So within 10 minutes, you can go there and get on the ride, where it all depends on the wait time. You're still technically waiting in line without having to stand in line. And that's where the accessibility comes into play for people who have mobility issues, sight issues, anxiety issues, autism, whatever your special need is, right? They will, it helps, but you're technically still waiting the same amount of time to get on the ride as anybody else. So just know that. And I definitely wanted to bring this up in this show just because it is disabled, and that's what I'm focusing on. But again, this channel is for Disney lovers. Make no mistake about it. So if you love Disney, I'm also going to be covering Universal at some point as well too. I'll make a separate show for that. Don't know what I'll call it, but I've never been to Universal, and I'd like to experience and kind of do a comparison. From my understanding, there's really no true comparison, but they're also two different parks. The expectation is different, but I'm going to say my opinion until I have the opportunity. But being able to experience with family, I encourage that. The more the merrier. There's so many different ways to do Disney. There's Disney in large groups. There's Disney in small groups. There's Disney by yourself, something I've never done my whole life. I've never done Disney by myself. And I know I want to, just because I like the Disney experience to be, I think the word out there that's like vibe chasing. I'm that guy that can go get a mint julep and a beignet and sit on the rivers of America and people watch for a while. Or take a stroll over to the Disneyland Railroad and just cruise around the park, jump on the monorail, do the same thing. Simple things. And maybe it's my age, but I also love the thrill of Thunder Mountain and Space Mountain and my new excitement ride, my new favorite excitement ride, Rise of the Resistance. As a Star Wars fan, hands down, best experience in the park from an immersive perspective. And then I love old school Disneyland. I love Pirates. I love New Orleans Square. That is my favorite, hands down. I just, being in that area, being in that park is just amazing. And I look forward to covering all that here. My intentions were to vlog all 4 days. That was my initial plan. That was my goal. But as I did that first day, I noticed it was just getting harder and harder. There were so many of us, and we were being pulled different directions at times, and we were on that grind, that hustle for the kids to really kind of tackle the park as best as we could, and also trying to make time for those intimate moments of being there with family and sharing the smiles and laughter. And I just didn't feel like vlogging that particular trip was worth it. I did the first day for the most part. I wrapped it up in a different way just because I got to even that point. I didn't finish the first day. I did a lot, but I just kind of was taking in the fact that I was there with my brother for the first time in 5 years, my wife for the first time with our kids. It was just so surreal to me, and I wanted to take in the moment and not be distracted by a camera or a moment I felt like I had to catch on camera, at least to share, right? Pictures and certain clips of us and our reactions, meant for like family home video versus YouTube and social media. But nevertheless, to me, the biggest thing I take is just the Disney magic. I know Disney's under great attack right now, and there may be some reason why, and I do get it, but I kind of also see the other side of it as well, and that's what we're going to cover in the next episode of Disabled. We're going to be covering the reservation system. We're going to be covering the annual pass system. We're going to be covering just the overall experience and value that Disney's offering right now, and give you my perspective on why people are angry and who's angry and who it makes sense for and who doesn't it make sense for. A lot to cover in on that. And that'll be the next episode of Disabled. But I really I just wanted to get back in here and just kind of share a brief synopsis of my experience and what I felt. Disney is still a place of magic and wonder. And I encourage you to experience it with your family and experience it for yourself. I mean, especially if you're suffering through something, depression, sight loss, mobility loss, whatever is hindering you from feeling happy or feeling independent or doing what you have to do, find the things that make you happy. And if you have something that you feel like holds you back, find another way to experience and enjoy it. That's going to be what this channel is all, this particular show and Disney's all about, as well as the rest of all the independently brand program that we're going to be bringing. So here on Independently Blind, we just want to encourage you to advocate, educate, motivate, and inspire others to live their best life. And that's what we're here to do. So until next time, you stay one with the Force, and the Force will be with you always. Oh, yeah. And stay independently blind.